Hello, welcome back to my channel or welcome for the first time. I'm Danilo and today I'm talking about the Lenormand Oracle. So, just like in my previous video on Tarot, I'm trying to understand and give sort of a quick and clear definition of what this deck of cards is. So, starting from the history, we have, as I said before, playing cards being used also for divination, not just for playing. We have at the beginning of the 1800s and of the 1700s the Game of Life, which is a deck of cards that is born in Germany. It's a game, once again, and then later it is reprinted, revisited, if you will, with the name Lenormand Oracle in France, and then of course it gets released all over Europe and then in America, all over the world. It's rather famous as a kind of deck. And basically, the Lenormand name comes from a woman which, during the again later 1700s, beginning of the 1800s, she was a fortune teller. She was friend with Napoleon's wife, so she was famous as a person, and she used regular French playing cards. So she actually never used the tarot, or at the very least she said she didn't want to use them. She never actually used the Game of Life as a divinatory system. She used regular playing cards, and basically after her death her notoriety was used to give this game and this new divinatory system a new identity, more make it more appealing for the audience. And so it begins the tradition of our modern Lenormand Oracle with the 36 cards of the Game of Life, with the association of playing cards, which actually doesn't really work with different teams, different cards, because there are associations where you will read the Lenormand style card in a positive way, but the playing card in a negative one, and so you have sometimes decks with the image on the bottom, and at the top you have the French card reference, correspondency. No, I don't think I used this word wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. And a sort of poem, or maybe a couple of lines as a rhyme to kind of find a third meaning that better binds these two, better links them. So there's this weird sort of trying to use Lenormand for actual playing card readings in an alternative way. Anyway, so just like I said for Tarot, what is Lenormand as a system? It's of course a deck of cards. You can also use a charms system, so small objects, so small jewels, small things to represent each of the cards, but there are 36 in a series. Again, the Game of Life was sort of a path. Okay, so every symbol was a thing that happened in life, and you could go further or had to go back depending on the card where you ended up with, and so we have a decent balance between positive and negative meanings of the cards in using it as an oracle. And again, it's traditionally 36 cards, so it's not a complete 52 playing card deck. But nowadays, especially, we have more. Why? Because, first of all, sometimes you have different versions of the same cards, especially the man and the woman, because of course at the time you had the female significator, the male significator, so one was your client, your quirent, or yourself, the other was the significant other, or the boss at work, or the friend, or something. Nowadays, with the conversation and the recognition about gender, identity, and sexual orientation, and all sorts of different paths in life, of course, creators try to make them inclusive. So what they do, they give you maybe 2 men and 2 women, or maybe 3 of one and the other. Maybe they give you a genderless querent and a genderless significant other, or other person, or person number 2, or they give you a man, a woman, and a genderless person, so you can use them and combine them and have all your tools to not project a straight perspective on your clients or your quirents, or having to use it on yourself, of course. Another thing that happens sometimes, you have different version of other cards. The Celtic Lenormand is a very good example of that, because you have 3 men and women, or 2 men and women. I may be wrong on that, but you have multiples of that. You have 2 child, so you have both a male presenting and a female presenting child. You have 3 versions of the birds. You have 2 versions of the snake. You have both the dog and the cat, so you can theoretically consider them 2 different cards, or just another aspect of the being faithful, the friend, that kind of character connotation, depending if you are more of a dog person or a cat person. But it's basically 2 versions of the same symbol, or 2 different cards, depending on how you want to use them. And that's something that works with all the different versions. So the men and women are more warrior-like, like this in the cover, this woman in the cover, or more like working class. So you have different versions of people, you have different roles in their society. With the birds, you have birds of prey, you have chickens, you have I think small songbirds or something like that. So you have the different symbols of anxiety and chit chatters, and maybe gossips. With the 2 different children, you have maybe more the playing side and the learning how to adult side. With the snakes, you have the snake changing its skin, so the transformation, and then you have the snake ready to attack, so the dangerous person, the fake friend, the negative woman usually, but I don't gender the snake card. And again, the dog and the cat can represent easily 2 different kind of friends, but still be friends, so you don't necessarily have to choose between one or the other. And then you have also other decks with more than the 36 cards, because in some instances, like the Maybe Lenormand by Ryan Edward and the Lifeline Lenoracle by Thomas of Hermit's Mirror, you have creators deciding to make a Lenormand Oracle and then add the remaining cards. So you have a 52 deck with the classical and traditional Lenormand symbols, plus the remaining ones always inspired by the classic Sibylla, gypsy sort of oracle. So you have more people with things like generosity, or the adversary or something like that, or you have more animals, or you have maybe more symbolic things such as an eye for divination or intuition, something like that, or you have a rose, so it's more of a meeting of a new flame, while the ring of the classic Lenormand can be more of the relationships that it's no longer new, it's solid, it's sure, and so there is a proposal, whether it is living together or a wedding or something. You have maybe the pig as another animal, so the concept of recognizing the import, basically. Wait, I can do this. Sorry. Basically, realizing everything you have to use, everything you can offer, everything you can gain from, because of the thing of the pig, you waste nothing, because all of its parts can be used one way or another. Maybe you have a money cards specifically, so the fish is more of the classic Lenormand, is more your what makes you rich, what you have in abundance, without specifically talking about money, something like that. Of course, they do things differently. So once again, coming to the end of the video, I tell you, if you are interested in the Celtic Lenormand, in the Lenormand Oracle, I would suggest to take a very good look to the expanded version. The Celtic Lenormand is one of the best, I think, because it's very traditional, very beautiful when it comes to the artwork. The book inside is very easy to understand, but it is complete, so you are missing nothing. And it already gives you a little bit more cards, so whether it is the people, whether it is the snake, or you want to add the cat or whatever, you have already options without starting from the classic 36 cards deck and then having to add new things, maybe worrying that it's going to throw off your reading style. Or you can go with the traditional one. This is a prime example. Very beautiful artwork. You can also get a mini version, which is very useful for the Grand Tableau, which is a specific way of reading Celtic. Sorry, again, I keep watching this, so I keep saying Celtic Lenormand instead of Lenormand Oracle. But basically, you use all the cards in rows, and then you go from significator to significator, finding the theme of your question and therefore the theme of your answer, and you go look for the cards around it, or you do a past, present, future, or you go through the diagonals, and basically it's a very in-depth, very long, if you will, reading using the entire deck. Therefore, a mini is very useful. That being said, Lenormand is very popular nowadays as a system, so I really believe you can find whatever it is you want, or whatever it is you feel like it's the right thing for you. So go, explore, learn, and then choose. Of course, if you want to collect, then I would say maybe take a traditional 36 cards or a couple in very different styles, and then the ones which interest you the more when it comes to the expansion, whether it is a partial expansions with different versions, or a couple more cards in it, or whether it is the full size deck of playing cards, 52 cards. So the 36 Lenormand plus other symbols you can use just like the regular deck. Okay, thank you for watching, thank you for listening to me. Please subscribe. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you next week. Bye!